The 18th day of Ramadan arrived with a quiet and peaceful morning. The sky was still dark when the village awoke for suhoor, the meal before the day of fasting began. Inside the homes, small lanterns glowed warmly as families gathered around simple plates of food. Amina sat beside her mother, slowly eating her dates. Outside, the cool morning breeze moved gently through the trees, and the village felt calm and still. After suhoor, the adhan for Fajr prayer echoed through the air. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. The believers stood in prayer, beginning another day of fasting and reflection. Ramadan had now passed more than halfway, and many hearts in the village were becoming softer and more thoughtful. Later that afternoon, as the sun began to move across the sky, a young woman named Fatima walked quietly through a narrow village path. In her hands, she carried a small woven basket. Inside the basket were a few dates, some bread, and a small bowl of soup carefully covered with cloth. Fatima walked slowly, making sure not to attract attention. The village was peaceful during the fasting hours, and most people were resting inside their homes to save their energy. Finally, Fatima stopped in front of a small house near the edge of the village. Inside that home lived an elderly widow who struggled to provide for herself. Fatima looked around quietly to make sure no one was watching. Then she gently placed the basket near the woman's door. She did not knock. She did not call out. Instead, she quietly turned and began walking away. Just as she stepped back onto the path, she noticed someone watching her. It was her younger brother, Yusuf. He had been walking through the village and had seen everything.
Fatima?
Oh, Yusuf, why didn't you knock on the door?
Because I don't want her to know it was from me.
Yusuf looked confused.
But wouldn't it make her happy to know who helped her? My brother, the best charity is the one that is done quietly. What do you mean?
Fatima began walking again, and Yusuf followed beside her. She explained softly as they walked along the village path.
When we give charity only for Allah, we do not need people to praise us. We do not need recognition. Allah sees everything.
The afternoon sun was beginning to soften, and long shadows stretched across the ground. Fatima continued speaking.
Sometimes the most beautiful acts of kindness are the ones that no one else sees.
Yusuf thought carefully about her words. He realized something important. True kindness was not about being noticed. It was about helping others sincerely. As evening approached, the village slowly became active again. Families prepared food for iftar, and the smell of cooking drifted through the air. Fatima helped her mother prepare dates and warm soup. Yusuf sat quietly nearby, still thinking about what he had learned that day. Just before sunset, the adhan for Maghrib prayer echoed across the village. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Everyone gathered to break their fast. Yusuf held a date in his hand and smiled, because he had learned a quiet but powerful lesson. The greatest acts of kindness are often the ones that only Allah sees. And somewhere in the unseen world, the angels were writing down Fatima's secret act of charity, a small act done with a sincere heart. And that is exactly the kind of deed that shines the brightest during Ramadan.